Imagine stepping off a train, heart pounding with hope, clutching a bundle of letters that promise a new life, only to have those dreams shattered in seconds because of the color of your skin. This is the story of Amara Wilson, a black mail-order bride who faced rejection so cruel it could have broken her spirit. But what happened next? A millionaire farmer saw her not as a stranger, but as his perfect match, and together, they turned a small town's prejudice upside down. Stay with us as we uncover a tale of resilience, justice, and a secret that changed everything. Hit that subscribe button, and let's dive into this incredible journey. It's 1885, and the dusty platform of Riverbrook's train station buzzes with anticipation. Amara Wilson, a 30-year-old teacher from Boston, steps off the train, her delicate lace hat tilted just so, a trunk of dreams at her side. She's traveled 3 weeks to meet Harold Pierce, a widower whose letters brimmed with longing for companionship. For 6 months, they exchanged words of hope, love, and a shared future in this quiet Nebraska town. But as Amara scans the crowd, her eyes meet Harold's, and his face drains of color. This isn't going to work, Harold stammers, his voice barely above a whisper. You didn't mention you were black. The words hit Amara like a slap. Her heart sinks, but she lifts her chin. Tell me, Mr. Pierce, what exactly should I have mentioned? That my skin is dark, but my heart is as true as yours? You never ask. Harold clutches a wilting bouquet, his eyes darting to the curious onlookers. In Riverbrook, a black woman in a fine dress is already a spectacle. A black woman rejected by a white merchant is gossip gold. You have to understand, he mutters, stepping back. My business, the community. I can't. He fumbles in his pocket, pulling out a few crumpled bills. This'll cover a ticket back to Boston. You're educated. You'll figure it out. Amara's hands tremble, not with fear, but with a quiet fury. She spent her life savings to come here, fleeing the discrimination of the city for a chance at belonging. Harold's letters painted him as a lonely soul craving connection, never once hinting his heart had a color preference. I have nowhere to go back to, she says, her voice steady despite the storm inside. Mail-order brides like Amara were common in the late 19th century, as men in frontier towns sought wives from the east. But for black women, the journey was fraught with risk. Racial prejudice often went unspoken in letters, only to explode upon arrival. Amara's story reflects the courage of countless women who faced rejection yet refused to be defined by it. Have you ever been judged unfairly before you had a chance to prove yourself? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. Before Amara can respond to Harold's dismissal, a deep voice cuts through the tension like a blade. Is that your solution, Pierce? Throw money at a problem and hope it vanishes. A tall man steps forward, his simple but costly clothes marking him as someone of means. His sun-weathered face speaks of a life outdoors, but his piercing gaze commands the platform. This is none of your concern, Maxwell, Harold snaps, but his voice wavers. It's my concern when a man I've known for 15 years acts like a coward, the stranger replies. He turns to Amara, his expression softening. Miss, I'm Alexander Maxwell, owner of the largest farm in Riverbrook. I have a guest room at my estate, and you're welcome to stay until you decide your next step. Amara hesitates, wary of kindness from strangers. It's often come with strings attached. But something in Alexander's steady gaze feels different. Why would you help me? She asks. Alexander's smile is grim. Because I've seen men like Pierce judge others by their skin my whole life. And I've had enough of it. Harold sputters. Maxwell, you can't be serious. What will people say? Let them talk, Alexander says coolly. The same people who rely on my land for their livelihoods? I'm curious to hear their objections. Alexander's estate is no mere farm. It's a sprawling Victorian mansion surrounded by thriving fields and grazing thoroughbreds. As Amara's carriage passes through ornate gates, she feels a mix of awe and suspicion. Riverbrook's folks aren't used to difference, Alexander explains, gesturing to the grand house. They're stuck in the past, and Harold's just a symptom of that. Mrs. Foster, the housekeeper, greets Amara with professional warmth, showing no surprise at a black guest. The blue room's ready, with a view of the gardens, she says, leading Amara through halls lined with priceless art. At dinner, Alexander shares his story. The son of a northern banker, and an abolitionist teacher, he inherited wealth and a fierce belief in equality. In Riverbrook, he's seen as eccentric, too rich to shun, too principled to fully embrace. "And you, Miss Wilson?" he asks. "What brought you here?" Amara hesitates, then shares a partial truth. "I was a teacher in Boston, teaching literature and history to girls of color. When my school closed, I needed a fresh start." What she doesn't mention is the secret hidden in her trunk, an inheritance from her grandfather, Joseph Freeman, including gold coins and documents that could upend Riverbrook's history. Amara's story mirrors the struggles of freed black families after the Civil War. Land ownership was a path to independence, but many, like Amara's grandfather, faced violence and theft from white neighbors. Her discovery of legal documents reflects real cases where black descendants fought to reclaim stolen land, often against insurmountable odds. It's a reminder of how history's injustices linger, and how one person's courage can rewrite the story. Days pass, and Alexander gives Amara space to heal. The estate's library becomes her sanctuary, filled with books on local history and land laws. She studies late into the night, piecing together a puzzle from her grandfather's documents. Meanwhile, Riverbrook buzzes with gossip about the black woman at Maxwell's estate. Curious neighbors and merchants invent excuses to visit, eyeing Amara like a zoo exhibit. "They've made you the town attraction," Alexander says over tea, after a nosy delegation leaves. Amara laughs bitterly. "I've always been an attraction, Mr. Maxwell. The difference now is I'm holding a teacup while they stare." Then Harold Pierce arrives, hat in hand, feigning concern. "I just want to ensure Miss Wilson's comfortable," he says nervously. Alexander's voice is ice. "Why don't you ask her yourself?" Amara enters, radiant in a dress Mrs. Foster tailored, no longer the weary traveler, but a woman of purpose. "Mr. Pierce," she says coolly, "how kind of you to check on me." Harold fidgets. The community's concerned. About propriety. An unmarried woman in a man's home, especially a black woman, Alexander finishes, his tone dangerous. "Go on, Pierce." "I'm listening." Harold stumbles, mentioning a church collection to send Amara back to Boston. Amara's smile is sharp. "How generous. But I'm staying in Riverbrook, permanently. Mr. Maxwell's offered me a job as his librarian." Harold's jaw drops. "Librarian? You can't be serious." Alexander shrugs. "She's educated and capable. My library's never been in better hands." Amara's librarian role is a cover. The Maxwell Library holds not just novels but land records and legal archives. Among them, Amara finds proof. Her grandfather, Joseph Freeman, a freedman, owned 60% of Riverbrook's land in 1866, granted by the governor. In 1870, after attempted lynchings, he fled, and the town's founding families, including the Pierces, stole his land, forming the Riverbrook Property Committee to legitimize their theft. 2 weeks later, Riverbrook's town hall is packed for an emergency meeting. Harold, red-faced, rants about Amara's presence as a defiance of tradition. As murmurs grow, Alexander and Amara enter, her briefcase in hand. "Miss Wilson isn't my guest," Alexander announces. "She's here as the legal representative of a matter concerning you all." Harold scoffs. "A woman of color with no authority? Maxwell, you've lost it." Amara opens her briefcase. "I'm a certified teacher and the legal heir of Joseph Freeman, my great-grandfather." Gasps ripple through the room. She presents the 1866 deed, detailing Freeman's land, now the heart of Riverbrook, including Harold's store. "Your family stole it after driving him out," she says, producing records of the 1870 lynchings and land grab. Judge Thornton examines the documents, his face grim. "These appear authentic." "It's a forgery," Harold shouts, but his voice cracks. A respected lawyer, Mr. Jeff, steps forward. "The State Historical Records Commission verified them." A lawsuit's been filed. Chaos erupts. Harold lunges at Amara. "You planned this." She stands firm. "No, Mr. Pierce. I came seeking a home. Your rejection showed me who you are, a man who'd judge my great-grandfather the same way you judged me." Amara doesn't seek revenge. She proposes the Freeman Foundation, funded by recovered land value, to support education and housing for all Riverbrook citizens. The council, chastened, agrees. 6 months later, Riverbrook is transformed. Harold Store is now a public library, and the Freeman Foundation funds scholarships and community projects. Harold, humiliated, leaves town, his pride in tatters. Amara and Alexander, now married, renamed the estate Freeman Maxwell House. At a celebratory dinner, Judge Thornton toasts Amara. "You taught us justice is a daily practice." A new plaque in the town square honors Joseph Freeman, ensuring his story, and Amara's, lives on. Amara Wilson arrived in Riverbrook, a stranger, rejected for her skin. She left it a visionary, proving that dignity and truth can rewrite history. What's a moment when you turned rejection into strength? Share in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more stories of courage and transformation. Let's keep building a world where differences are our greatest strength. Peace.